no such thing as co-pastor. So you can go and throw it out anyway. So number one, the church wasn't even lined up with how God said it. Apostle, prophet, pastor, that is teaching. I don't see no word co in there. So that's false teaching anyway. But what is it that we get in these relationships, we get in these ministries, and when something doesn't happen or they don't abide to what we want, why do we question what God given us? Why do we question God's character of why he allowed the thing to happen? The first word if question was presented by Satan in Genesis 3 and 1. Yea, have God said. The enemy's job is to plant uncertainty about God's words, which then multiplies into speculation. That's what leads to these women checking these men's phones and social media accounts and men they putting these air tags and trying to see who they talking to. That's doubt. That's fear. That's uncertainty. And as we see, that pattern continues throughout Scripture. But when we look at James 1, verse 6 through 8, it says, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that waver is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. Now let's watch this. He that waver, that means you moving. You ain't got no anchors set because you ain't strong in God. So now it's pushing you out of God's way. And as it's pushing you out of God's way, you hitting them waves. Now all of a sudden, you're on a deserted island. What that man in that movie came, whatever his name was, you on a deserted island talking to a soccer ball, and the soccer ball making sense to you because your mind been kicked all around. Waver means to be divided in judgment. A person that lives in speculative doubt becomes unstable in every part of their life because your thinking is governed by possibilities rather than promises. See, if God's that sent you somebody in your life, why you got to sit there and wonder if they meant to be in your life? Why you got to wonder, do they want you? Why you got to wonder, do they like you? Why you got to wonder how long they're going to stay? You're unstable. You're unstable. If God gave you the business idea, why you got to wonder if it's going to be successful? Why you got to wonder if you're going to get customers? Why you got to wonder if you're going to be good? If God said it, like the old folks said, that settles it. But you're living in a mindset of wondering, it's because you're not grounded in God. See, the problem is not asking honest questions. The problem is allowing assumptions and hypothetical fears to override reveal truth. So what is on your mind that got your mind tormented because you trying to find out the truth? We got to develop that every what if question is not wrong because we got what if questions that is rooted in wisdom. So if you are what if kind of person, make sure your what if is for foresight and discernment. In Proverbs 22 and 3, it says, a prudent man foresees the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Those of you who've been around a little while, you often heard me say, or still hear me say, even if I do wrong, I'm right. That's why. I know the outcome of doing something wrong, and I don't weigh the outcome. And it used to be when I weighed the outcome because I knew how God would punish me, I would do it because what he would do, it wouldn't hurt me. But now that he don't say nothing, I'm scared. So now I think about it, but I ain't finna do nothing because he took away that relationship that I developed. Oh, God just gonna take a little revelation away. Let me go and give him a piece of my mind. Let me go and do this. So now, if I see somebody do something to me, I say, what if? But now my wisdom gone. I don't know what's going to happen. I look at the consequences of disobedience. And so that's a constructive use of what if. See, if we're going to live for Christ and do it for real, you got to, your mindset said, if I do this, does this dishonor God? That's the way you got to think.
Transformation, center we proclaim. Church kingdom mindset.